Everything you could possibly ask for in a coffee cake. Right here. Welcome back to the Bates Kitchen. I am so excited to be showing you guys one of our family favorites. It's a lemon blueberry coffee cake. This cake is so versatile. It's great for everything from family brunches on Saturday to Sunday social gatherings or just that perfect sweet treat to have on hand throughout the week. This cake is soft, it's buttery, it's packed with sweet juicy blueberries. The lemon gives it just that right amount of brightness, and this golden brown crumb topping just gives the perfect amount of crunch to pair with the softness of the cake. You're gonna love having this warm right out of the oven, but honestly, it's good any time of the day as long as there's any of it left. A special thank you to Blue Land for sponsoring this week's video. It's that time that I'm refilling my soap here, and I have Blue Land's toilet bowl cleaner tablets. I'm gonna show you those in just a second. And then my soap refills. Got a few different scents to try. I never really thought about what was in my cleaning products. Did you know that most detergent pods are actually wrapped in plastic? Even ones that dissolve still leave behind plastic that ends up in our environment and our water. Not exactly ideal. Blue Land makes cleaning products that actually work without the plastic waste or the harsh chemicals. Their dishwasher tablets, no plastic film, no weird residue, just clean dishes. Their laundry tablets, no giant plastic jugs, just a little tablet that gets the job done. And their toilet tablets, you drop one in, let it fizz, brush, and flush. That's it. There's no single-use plastic in any of their products. When you run out, you just grab a refill. Everything comes in compostable packaging. You can even stock up in bulk or set up a subscription so that you never run out of what you need. I started using Blue Land to cut down on waste and plastics, but I keep using it because it just works. So if you want to try it for yourself, Blue Land is giving my followers 15% off of their first purchase. Just click the link below or scan the QR code here on the screen to get 15% off of your first kit from Blue Land. The first thing we're going to start with is zesting our lemon. You want to wash off that waxy coating, and then we're just going to zest these. We'll also be using the juice of 2 lemons. Sometimes I wonder who it was that thought, you know what, if lemon tastes so good in these dishes, I bet we should add some of that lemon peeling. But it works. They were a smart person because it really works. Now that I've zested my lemons, I'm going to set them aside. Time to make our crumb topping. I go ahead and make this ahead of time. And we're going to mix in sugar, flour, and butter. So now I'm going to start by kind of mashing that butter in there. It's just softened to room temperature. And one thing I do to make it a little bit crispier is I will use some turbinado sugar, like sugar in the raw, to kind of make the crumb topping just a little crispier and crunchier. Just going to mix this till it's kind of like a sandy texture. A pastry cutter works very well here as well. Now let's just add just a little bit of cinnamon here. Gives it just a little bit something extra there. Mix it one last time. If you see the texture of this is kind of sandy, you can kind of squeeze it together and it'll hold its shape, but it also wants to fall apart when you fall in. That's really the texture you're looking for this. And when you put those in the oven and they get hot, it's going to make that crispy topping that everybody loves coffee cake for. So now we're going to use 2 bowls to mix everything together, and it's just the easier way to keep your dry and wet, mix them both separately, and then blend them together at the end. We're going to add our flour, and as always, the measurements for everything that I use are in the description. Hop down there and you can see the entire recipe. Add our baking powder, baking soda, and salt. And then finally our sugar. And then last we're going to add our lemon zest. Now I did put about 1/3 of that lemon zest in the crumb topping and forgot to show you that, but the rest of it, of course, is all in the description if you're looking for the recipe. Now I'm just going to whisk this together, kind of mix it up with a whisk dry. We will set that aside and work on our wet mix. Take these lemons we've zested, and now we're going to cut them in half and juice them. You can also, if you're in a hurry, just use lemon juice and the dried lemon zest, but I really think a fresh lemon does make a lot of difference in the flavor of this. Now we're going to use some of this lemon juice. Now we're going to use some of this lemon juice in a couple different places, so I squeeze it into a cup instead of just trying to squeeze parts of a lemon into the batter because you just don't know how much you're getting. Okay, we're finally getting to a place that this can start coming together. Let's add our eggs. We're going to whisk these up pretty good a little bit first. Now we're going to add in our yogurt. I love a coffee cake because sometimes with your birthday cakes and things like that, they're just so light that it's just really not filling. But with coffee cake, you actually can take it as a snack. It goes great for breakfast. I love coffee cake for breakfast. I love coffee cake during the day as a snack, and it just feels more filling. I also love to take it to events or take it to people. This one's great. It's impressive. You can also mix cream cheese in, things like that if you're into that. And the topping works with anything. The batter pretty much works with anything. You can use the same batter and change up the fruit, change up the flavor profile pretty easily. And I've made it with a lot less sugar. I've even made it with no sugar, and with the crumb topping, it was still pretty good. Obviously, the crumb topping has a lot of sugar in it, but overall, the cake didn't really have any sugar, and so you actually feel better about eating it. I don't know if it's actually better. Probably not the person to ask that, but it still tastes good. That's what I'm talking about. Trying to get around my seeds in my lemon juice. Let's see. Let's put about 3 or 4 teaspoons of this lemon juice in here. I'll start with 3, and then if I get into the batter and it needs more, we can add more. 3 tablespoons there. The last thing we're going to add here is our melted butter. And then we're ready to fold in our dry ingredients. Just start rolling this in and kind of gently turn it. We want to be careful not to over mix it here. I love an easy recipe, and I also love a recipe that's very versatile. And this one checks both of those boxes because it's easy to remember, easy to put together, and it's very forgiving. And if you change up the measurements a little bit, you're not going to get a hugely different coffee cake, but it's also so easy to change up. You can add a different kind of berry. You can take away the lemon. You can do it with raspberry. You can do it with pretty much any fruit. You still get a great texture. You still get a great topping, and anybody that tries it is going to love it and probably ask you for the recipe, which if they do, we appreciate you shouting out this channel or completely taking credit yourself. You deserve it. You made it. Now the last part here is we're going to fold these blueberries in, and I'm just going to do this really quickly. We just really gently want these in here. We don't want to squash our blueberries. One little tip, you can absolutely use frozen blueberries, but frozen blueberries will bleed a little color, so you can get some blue in your batter, and they tend to fall. So to keep your blueberries from falling in your dough and just all piling up in the bottom of your coffee cake, dust them in flour. Put 2 or 3 tablespoons of flour in there, shake them around real good, dust them real well in the flour, and that'll help them kind of suspend in your batter, and it will also help with the staining around the blueberries into the batter, which honestly, I don't mind a little staining. I think the little blue looks pretty good, but that is a little tip if you're using frozen blueberries instead of the fresh ones. I'm just going to rub some butter in a casserole dish. Now I've got my buttered casserole dish, and we're just going to spoon this all into the dish. And I will try to turn this so that I can actually show what I'm doing, but that's not always possible for me on camera. I'm just going to spread this around in here so it's kind of even. So now that I've spooned it all in, got it all in there with a spatula, it's a little easier for me to kind of level it out with a spoon here. And we're being gentle here with our blueberries because we don't want to push them all down in the dough, and we also want them to stay mixed up and not be squashed. One other thing about frozen blueberries, if you were using frozen blueberries, don't thaw them. Just pour them in frozen. They will thaw in the bake. Trying to thaw them out will just make a giant mess. Don't ask how I know these things. Now for our crumb topping, I'm mixing the rest of that lemon zest in there that I forgot to show y'all earlier. We're going to sprinkle this crumb topping over top fairly generously. Oh yes. And then we're just going to kind of whisk that across. This is what really makes any coffee cake. And if you are doing something like orange or lemon or a touch like that, and it is something you can add that zest into the crumb topping, it really does add a little bit everywhere. So let's pop this guy in the oven and let's see what we have created. So now while our cake is in the oven, let's make our glaze. You do not have to do this, but I'm telling you, the glaze makes everything. We're gonna start with 3 tablespoons of lemon juice, and if we need more, we'll get a little more. Then let's just whisk that up in there. Put the rest of that in our lemon juice thing. We're just gonna get this to kind of a paste consistency. Something like that school glue I hope you didn't eat too much of when you was a kid. Well, I added a little bit too much of the lemon juice, so now I get to add some more powdered sugar back in there. That's pretty good. We like that. This is just gonna add that sweet, tangy lemon flavor, and when you pair that across that crunch topping, This is just gonna be so good. So let's pop this thing out of the oven and see what we got. Just a beautiful, toasty, golden brown on top. We'll stick that with a fork. Fork comes out clean. We are good to go. I could just feel the texture when I push my fork in there. This is gonna be a good cake. And now we're gonna take our glaze, and this glaze is not gonna taste amazing by itself, but on here, this is where it really brings it in. Kind of get it drizzling the way you want it to before you come over the cake, and then we're just gonna drizzle it over the cake. Oh. Lily, don't do it. It really doesn't matter the pattern you glaze it in. I go back and forth because it's fun to do, but it's gonna soak into that crumb top and then kind of harden up a little bit as it cools. You can eat this cake warm, just like it is now, and that's amazing. You can also eat it the next day cool. It tastes fine either way. And I promise you, this is something that is going to be a favorite in your family. I'm so excited about eating this, and I already know what it tastes like. For you people that haven't tried it, oh, did you just feel that just go in there? It's just so soft. Oh, so buttery. Let me just feel that. Oh. This is everything you want in a coffee cake. And a corner piece is always my favorite. But just look at this. Oh, just wait till we try it. I know what this tastes like, and I'm still so excited to try one more bite of it. It's that perfect blueberry spring flavor with just a little hint of brightness from that lemon. This is so good. The cake is so soft. The topping is so crunchy. No matter whether you're making this for your family, your friends at church, or just for yourself, I promise you, with every bite, you're going to thank me later.